everybody. We're going to do a bit of a talk behind the scenes. I've written down what we're doing. Exploring the disciplines of painting, writing and voiceover in relation to the Archway series. And I felt like I was in school when I wrote that.
But it sounds really official.
It's the living objective of today's chat.
It is.
And we have our questions, because otherwise what will we do?
We will ramble.
And waffle, and it will go on for hours. And that might be quite nice, but I also have to edit this. So we're going to keep to the questions and keep them in relation to the Archway series where we can. And as you can see, it's behind us. We brought it with us. Yeah, we'll just see where it goes.
I'm just noticing in the camera, I kind of blend
with the paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, there's a lot of ochre going along. Like, not too much green.
It's perfect though.
It's nice. I should have thought ahead. I've not really brought. There's no leopard print, is there? Cool. Right.
What gave you the initial idea for this project, as in bringing the three disciplines together?
It's weird being on the other end. It's gonna sound insane. Sometimes, I don't know if any of the artists can relate, I just get images in my head and I'm like, I want to paint that. And like the one that came to me was just, well, basically I was like, I want to paint a woman with a sword. And it ended up, that one has a sword as well. I just had the idea of painting somebody who'd just been called, like their name had been called, and we're getting like, that's where the hieroglyphy Morgathon came from. And I just sort of scribbled them out. I think I'll drop them in now, the scribbles, because you've seen the scribbles. You've seen the scribbles now? So I kind of had these images in my head, and I was like, I really want to paint them, but I don't just want to paint them for the sake of painting them. And like, I can come up with an okay story, like, I could have come up with something just for the sake of it. And then I was like, that's not really my discipline. Who do I know whose discipline it is, who can help me build a rich background and a rich story for all of these images that I want to create? And that's when I went to Harriet. And Harriet was like, yes, I'll do that. And then before we knew it, we were just running around in a field, getting all these reference shots. And then, yeah,
I think we scared the dog walkers.
We did scare a lot. We scared a lot of dog walkers, and we've scared some more people recently when we went to Crimson Abbey, and they thought we were going to go and bury a body because we were carrying a suitcase full of like
the
canvases and all the props, and they were like staring at us. And then a woman and her partner, excuse you, they weren't going to say anything, and then she went,
"Excuse me,
I have to say something. What's in the suitcase?"
What would she have done if you went, it's a body?
It's a body.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, please, like, said, sit down where you are.
The trouble is, we couldn't like find them after to be like, no, this is what we've done. I'm just hoping, like, they've not seen anything on the news, so they know.
Well, maybe they'll see this video and they'll go,
oh, that's what it was. What a great cover up. They made a YouTube video. But yeah, basically, sometimes my paintings come purely from emotion, and it's like, I want to turn this feeling or this experience into something beautiful. And sometimes it comes from, I have the image and then I want to give it more gravitas, but I didn't want to do this one on my own. I wanted to bring some other people in, and it turned out really fun. So I guess I'll be doing it again then. Very exciting. That okay enough?
it was perfect.
Cool. Okay, Harriet, you get to ask another question.
This one's for Harriet.
Yes.
So, where do you get your best ideas?
I think this is a very loaded question because of the word best. I get ideas, whether they're the best ideas is highly debatable, and it just, I could have a brilliant idea, but just execute it really poorly. But then does that make the idea better than any of the others or worse than the others? That
I would say best.
It's a bad idea, but turned out
like
great.
Ideas that really like light up in you, and you go, right, I've got to run with this.
So it depends very much what it is that I'm writing or that I want to write about. For this, it started with the paintings and getting that initial concept down and trying to work out who this character was going to be. Yes, we've kind of got the visual reference, but like, who actually is she? What is she like? What is she after? And it was dwelling on that and then bouncing off of real life situations happening, working across the creative sector generally, things, and just all of that frustration kind of manifested. And when you were like, oh, we want this woman with a sword, and it's just that feeling of like, you're fighting all of these opposing forces just to try and kind of be there in a creative space and be heard in that way. That for me is what caused the first part of the story to be written, which was the fourth story in the series. Always work backwards. Never have a plan. And it was just putting all of that sort of raw emotion down to help myself make sense of it and actually say, no, I've had enough of this now. Maybe it'll resonate somewhere else as well, because otherwise it's just, festering away and nothing ever changes. And actually realizing this was a really opportunity to work with Zoe and sort of have this, versioning platform to say, this is what creativity can do when you give it that chance, and that, audience out there of, we can put this across and it can come together and it can create something incredible. It might not resonate with everyone, but if it resonates with one other person, then it's worth it, even if that one other person is your friend, or like you're just doing it for yourself. Because I think that is something that is incredibly important and often gets missed in any type of humanity, that it is human.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, it comes from joy as well. Like, how much fun have we had at literally every stage of creating the whole thing? It's just come from, and it's such a good energy to be like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then you just coming together to make this thing. And then even if no other person ever saw it, you're happy that you made it.
Yeah. So it's getting all of those ideas and seeing what's happening around, bouncing off with that, and thinking, how can I channel this in some way? But also it can just be seeing something again. This is really cool. Where does it fit in? How does it fit in? Asking those sort of basic, like, how, why, where questions. It allows you to explore, and it's all of that exploration that then comes together until you find like the jigsaw pieces that fit together to make that story.
Anyone would think you were a writer. Cool. Kaylin, we're coming to you. How is, I don't even think I've written this in like English, how is it different booth to stage? So like, obviously you've done acting on stage, film kind of stuff, but like, how is performing this script essentially, even though it's a story, how is that different in the booth than it would be if like, say your audience was right there?
So like, there's a couple different things that would be different. Namely, when you're on stage, we're in front of a big group of people, whether you're delivering a speech, as you know, or actually doing a play, your audience is a crowd of people. So your aim is to be heard by every single person, no matter where they're sat in that room. Whereas when I get to sit down and record a story like this, I'm essentially speaking to one person. It's in the form of my microphone that looks like a sock puppet. It's also, when you're in front of people performing something, you have a couple of different things at your disposal to tell the story. I can use my face, I can use my body, I can use, make gestures with my hands. Whereas,
do you still do that in the booth?
It depends. You still, like, if I'm recording, I mean, it's different. If I'm recording a commercial, where like a lot of times it's for sports stuff, where it's like Adidas, get in the, and you have to like your muscles so that you give it a certain type of feeling. Or if I'm doing a long text that isn't a story per se, if it's like a promo video and it's quite long, and they want different points honed in, I sometimes have to, for myself, go. And so it helps me break up the text a bit easier. But yeah, the main difference for me is speaking to a crowd versus honing it into speaking to one person when that person is the listener, whoever is listening to the story, wherever they are, whatever they're doing.
Beautiful. It's like you are reading that one story to them. It's really interesting. Like, obviously, I don't know, hopefully we'll have maybe some footage of you recording. That would be really cool, just so people can see what you do. Like, obviously I do some not live streams, I do some speed paints of when I am painting, when I'm in a good mood. like you don't realise what somebody's up to in the booth, or when you're trying to furiously type away doing your story, like
hiding all of the bits that get deleted.
Yeah.
You don't see that at the end of a Word doc.
We should like maybe have a screenshot of your recycle bin just to see the magic behind the final piece, because I think it's great for people who are either budding artists, authors, and voiceover actors, or are just genuinely really interested in how things are made, and like seeing those little bits is almost as much joy as just seeing the finished piece.
It's cool, like what people in the same discipline, what parts of their process are the same, what parts are different, what parts in our very different disciplines, maybe the process is similar, or it's cool.
That's awesome. I really like it. Cool. Take it away, Haz. This one.
Okay, Zoe.
Yes.
How do you decide what small details to add into the painting? Because we can see the big details, but it's when you zoom in.
Obviously, when you're painting, can't work backwards like you might with writing. I think sometimes you know from the get-go, and sometimes it's about filling in the blanks, like quite literally. Like with the sword one, I knew we were basing it off Emperor Maximilian, his sword.
Yes.
Yeah. And he had some other stuff on there, but I was like, what? I didn't know for a long time. Sometimes I will paint up to a certain point in a painting, and then it becomes a puzzle that needs solving. And I know we'll get there eventually. Sometimes it needs to wait for a week, and something else needs to happen in life, and the answer will come to you in the weirdest of places. Sometimes you'll see it somewhere else. Sometimes it will literally just come to you. So I've got this blank sword, and I'm like, okay, what are we trying to tell here? So I went back to the story, and I'm like, okay, what is the story about? And the story is about her journey, how she is growing this idea, and how she's having to pull back, and how she's being like reforged into something else. And I'm like, how can I encapsulate that? And that was with the sword. I was like, the phoenix. And then I knew I wanted to do something to do with the seasons, and then to do with a phoenix, because the seasons are cyclical. That's the word. And then the phoenix is a well-known story of like death and rebirth. So I've got these images in my head, and I'm like just sketching away. And that there was like 2 weeks I didn't do it. I actually went from, I think I was painting both of them at the same time, and I was flipping in between the two, because sometimes you like get up and you're like, I don't want to paint you today. So I'm like, I give myself permission to start on a new one. But then in terms of like tiny details and things like that, like we discussed, you barely see any like fantasy heroines with glasses.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I said, do you want your glasses in the main picture? And she's like, oh no, I don't. And I'm like, why?
It was this,
why don't you want them?
Thing of being like, I really want to have my glasses in it, because I think you need to have more of that, because it's like you don't often see people in mainstream media in that sort of way, or in fantasy, wearing glasses. And yet, if I take my glasses off, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you can get contact lenses. I'm like, I don't like contact lenses.
They didn't have contact lenses back then.
I find them uncomfortable. You know, whether that option is there or not, it's then a choice of I want to wear my glasses. And I think whenever you go and buy new glasses, you're getting the fun of also buying a new accessory. Why wouldn't you want to show it off? So it was this part of going, okay, I don't always wear them. So with the hairography one, also just for the practicalities, I'm not tangling my hair with glasses. Just put them, there so that they're to hand, and they're like this little sort of feature.
Right.
But then in the Archway one, they're actually on my face type of thing. For that photo that we took, and that you decided to keep that in.
Yeah.
And it's just having that bit of variation, I think, of actually going, you know what, this is okay.
Yeah.
And it's all these, it falls into that sort of overarching brand of representation and stuff. And it's like everything from the big stuff to the little stuff matters.
It matters. People. Yeah. And like the Archway one wasn't finished for so long because it just needed something. And sometimes it's the smallest thing will make a painting, and you have to train yourself to know when it's done. And like it was just those last wisps. I'm a real big fan of kind of like wisps to take the eye on a journey, and I've noticed it a lot in my paintings. It's one of the things that I think is just a tell that it's mine. My friend said the other day, he was like, often the mistakes that we make are actually what our stamp is on something, and it's like it's not a mistake, it's just the way you make things. And like some of those, if I hadn't carried on with them, I was like, I ruined it. So dramatic. But like the first one that was over her foot, I think the kind of symbolism of being like held back and like clawed, and like I just sat and I was like, what does it mean? What's the story it's trying to tell in the picture? And then like she hasn't got a lot of her your kind of things. Words fail me, but accessories and things, like it's very stripped back. It's just the shirt and the skirt. She's not got a cape anymore. Like slowly, like losing things of her own. Sometimes you'll notice it looking back.
You kept the ring and the bracelet.
Yes, yeah. So it's just sitting, walking away, going, what's it missing? Is it missing anything? I don't often ask for other opinions whilst I'm painting, because I think it's just something that's very personal. It's like, if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to make the mistake and I'm going to own it. And also, it's painting.
It's trying out an idea and seeing if it works.
Yeah.
And knowing how to fix it if it doesn't. And it's that bit of when going, something's not right, but I don't know how to fix it.
Yes.
That's when it's like, okay, maybe I need to sort of take a full break or just go and bounce ideas around with someone else.
Go paint something else.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I planned the sword separately and practiced that. I've redrawn that face and repainted that face. I remember sending them to you, being like, what's wrong with this?
See, I think there was the element because you're like, okay, we're going to base it off of the photo shoot that we did, so it is me,
but it's not you.
Me. Yeah. You wanted to make it different, so then it's like you had the reference, but you were also making it up, which
I'm redrawing this head like hundreds of times. Not hundreds, that's ridiculous. I know some painters will practice everything before they make the painting, but I like to work it out on the thing. And then you see, like in the past, people like the really big kind of like Renaissance paintings, when they scan them and they've got different heads on them because someone's painted it. It's fascinating. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
And I sort of just embrace it. So like little details wise, take it at a slow pace and just keep coming back to it. Sleep.
What prep do you have to do before recording? I'm guessing it's more than just read the piece.
I will say, what I will say is I was very fortunate to have gone to drama school and have been given tools that I still use to this day.
I'll be glad to hear that.
And a lot of it was breaking down text, having it's not always transferable for like audiobook style stories, but like knowing what action you're doing with each line. And
what does that mean?
So to action a line is, why are you, this is more so for dialogue. So why are you saying it? What are you hoping to achieve by saying it? Not just like, I'm telling them to do this. It's like, well, no. How do you want that to affect the other person? So similarly, if I'm recording an audiobook, I'll have it in the back of my mind, well, why am I saying this? It will, if you trace the line back, it goes all the way back to, why has Harriet written it?
Yeah.
And I'm so
because I painted it.
Right. The honest answer is sometimes I do just pick up the book and I just start reading it out loud for the first time. That's the first time I have read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm grateful that my 3 years of drama school have instilled certain things in my brain to help me not have to think too hard about it. So it is really feeling my way through sometimes. For this project, because I really, really care about it, because it involves people I care about, I did sit down and read through all of them before going ahead and recording, which did allow me, and it is the type of prep we should all be doing all the time. Don't be like me. If you're going to be a voice actor, read everything before you read it out loud. But it allows you the time and space, without doing it in the moment for the first time, to look at what's on the page and go. Sometimes you can mark out like, this is the beginning of a new sort of section. I might want to reflect a bit differently. You can do that a million different ways: speeding up, slowing down, making the pitch higher, pitch lower, whatever. And also, I get the benefit of, when something is written so nicely, it does a lot of the work for me. So there's obviously very clear, like punctuation. There's very clear, it's laid out very nicely, so I don't have to think too hard about, we're going to a new location, so I might have to think about saying something differently. When things are maybe And I've worked with authors that are, well established, that it's their first book ever, and I'm getting to do the audiobooks for it. You can, I don't want to say it's bad writing, but it's
redacted.
Sometimes you can
It's
tell
a writing style that doesn't suit you.
it's a style,
But
and not everything is written to be read aloud.
Yeah.
There are some texts that the sentence will go on for the
Oh,
whole
Have
paragraph.
you tried doing an academic paper out loud?
Exactly, or medical papers that I've had to do, like where it's words that are this long on the page, and it's like a lot of the work is done for me, and I can intuitively, the way I would read it in my head is the way that I can say it out loud. And I can trust that the story is going to be, you'll be able to understand and follow along, and I can take someone on that journey with me without thinking too hard about it. So, like, the answer I should give is I do lots of prep and research. For some things, I do have to do research if it's something I don't know much about, but this is very much something I would read on my own time anyway. So I'm familiar with, like, the style and the type of world it might be, but also this story is very transferable to many different times. And I like that it's ambiguous. I'm saying that word right, aren't I?
No,
it's right all the time.
It's ambiguous enough that it could be set in any time period.
See, this I'm like just going, yay! I did what I wanted to do. You see, there's this combination for me of being, I wanted to write a story that was specific to a situation that I was seeing, and to an extent was a part of within academia. But at the same time, I wanted it to just not be confined to that, because there's so many interlocking aspects that are so transferable. So when I've got the part where it's like speaks like, oh, it's promising something better, but it's up saying it'll be better, but not saying how or where or why it's going to be better.
I think you, with that stuff as well, like I'm automatically filling it with specific things to the way I work, and when it is like that, it comes closer to you anyway, because you start to put in examples of your own like experience, and it's great in that way.
Yeah, because when we first sat down to talk about it, and you read me the passage, my brain went to it's AI, because
like, AI voiceover.
The AI voiceover is taking over. But then when I got to sit down and read through it myself, it was obviously because I had seen the paintings, and we all like the fantasy realm style books anyway. But it was also the mention of all of the craftsmen, and how craft isn't necessarily seen as a vocation now anymore, or as a necessary part of society, which is why in my head I did picture like the stone archway and the university cathedral and stuff. I pictured old timey stuff, but it is afterwards I realized you didn't specifically say we are set in.
Because when I was writing it, it was when I discovered that the MA course that I'd done before had been scrapped, and that was after having found that other similar departments in other universities had been scrapped. And it leaves this question of going, well, if you're getting rid of these areas, these hubs of expertise, where can people go to then find that information? And for me, working on medieval studies and law studies, that is so easily hijacked into political movements, often wrongly, without proper understanding of the source material. It leaves it open for that sort of misuse. Oh, but if you're taking money out of research, or we're going to focus on this other area, of course it's brilliant to focus on other areas and have that breadth of research and everything else, whether that be in STEM subjects and shape subjects and all of the disciplines within both. The problem is when you are fueling it all into one area and taking everything from another. It's not properly balanced, and it is what inhibits then those understandings. And for me, that's what I was trying to get across in this, but without turning it into purely that.
But the passion that you are clearly feeling from the frustration goes into the story so well that whoever is reading it and applying it to their area can feel that same emotion running through.
All of these things, they influence what it is that we value as a society, right? Because if you're valuing more onto, we want further technological development, that has then led to things of AI. Now that's threatening people outside of that academic research sphere. If you want, other things to be possible and to have them valued and to be tangible, you have to put that value into that which is tangible. And it's this constant battle between what is the cost of something in its monetary worth versus what do we value as a society. And it's trying to separate those notions of worth and value and actually reassess that in such a way that actually considers not just what is something going to give me back as profit, but what is something that's going to give me back and actually make me feel complete in some way.
Damn, girl. Whoa.
I can have my moments. Don't ask me to remember what I just said.
I'm gonna
It's on film now.
yeah, we'll just put that at the start and be like, you want to butch? Yep.
Yeah.
Harriet, more for you, my love.
Oh no.
How do you know when/if to bring in a new character or point of view? And I wrote this because a lot of the sections of the stories, companion stories, are written from another point of view, which initially, when we were sort of coming up with something, it's Morgate's story, and in my brain I'm like, oh, it's Morgate's story, it's going to be told by Morgate. And then Harriet hits me with these new characters and these new point of views, and like, I think it's easy to get sidetracked on this, but if we go into why did you decide that this story needed to be told from different perspectives, basically.
So the first part is kind of going to be like a Caitlin's previous answer of wasn't properly planned.
We're all agents of chaos.
Can't plan everything.
Yeah, so I think there's definitely an element of to be creative is to be chaotic, right?
Yes.
You've got to be, able to just play around and see what happens. And for me, I wrote Morgate's own story, the fourth story, first, even though it comes last in the order of reading, because that was trying to figure out who Morgate was and the shape her character was taking, and what she was after, what she was doing, and her reasons behind all of that, and how she was feeling about it. So that took a lot of inspiration from the release painting, with all of the emotion flooding out and just this exhale of a lot of frustration and actually coming to peace with that. So that's what I wanted for that story. For the rest of it, it wanted to be her journey, but every time I tried to put it into Morgate's shoes, it fell flat somehow. It just kept hitting a wall. It wasn't working until I suddenly realised, okay, what if we take it out from this? What if we're reflecting back on what is happening? So whereas Morgate's story at the end is kind of in that moment present with her, the rest of it I thought, have it as a friend who's reflecting back into those documentaries on TV where it's interviewing people. Did you see this coming? Did you know what was happening at the time it was taking place? All of that
just makes me think of The Office.
See, for me, I was thinking of all of the history programs my dad used to watch when I was a kid, mostly on the Second World War, the First World War, and hear these veterans talking about their experiences.
Right, not The Office.
So very, very different tones. Someone who's there as the bystander, who is going along with it, and I think perhaps makes it hopefully a bit more relatable than being that person of action, because it's then saying, okay, this is what you can see what's happening, and it's little bits, and it seems fine, and it is for the most part it is fine to progress and do things better, but it's when things start to go too far in a particular way and thinking about that and going, okay, how do we support in different ways, and actually sometimes saying you don't always have to be that point of action, just so long as you're thinking about things, that's all you necessarily need to do sometimes, and be open to discussing it, because then you can develop your own understanding and see where everything fits. And I think there's a very interesting element there where everything seems to want to be this or that. And it so often isn't this or that. So it doesn't have to be you agree totally with one thing and be totally against the other, or vice versa. It's you can agree with some of all of it and disagree with some of all of it. And working out how that all fits within everyone's own understanding. So bringing that other perspective in and having them looking back on it, then they can make sense of what was happening with hindsight and with that understanding of themselves and their own development. That then helped to unlock what that story needed to be, of them witnessing what Morgate was doing, who was being that active person. Just having someone there who is clearly her friend, who's clearly supporting her, even if they don't fully understand it, that's part of it enough. And it's all those different experiences that we can bring together.
That's amazing. I think that's my most fascinated question. I was like, because it works so well, and I just wanted to understand the thought behind why that was the choice, and it's fascinating.
It's interesting to know that you did try just Morgate to start.
Yeah, it's the thing with fantasy. Like, you want to follow the main hero who's doing all of the action, right?
But like, even when I was reading it, and it makes it so much more interesting to, especially for me to voice the character that eventually does have their mind changed, and it does, like, it proves Morgate's point at the end of, it's so much more important that one person just starts asking questions and just starts thinking a little bit differently. But even just like from me telling the story perspective, it's so much more interesting to start somewhere at the beginning and then watch them waver a little bit and change a little bit, and it's just more fun.
And I think at the moment there are so many stories that are told solely from the protagonist. It can get a little boring to be like, oh, they're the chosen one, and now we're gonna hear about the chosen one story. And I'm like, okay, I know where the story's going. I know the hero's journey.
It's the perspective from the side character.
Yeah. Sometimes the side characters are equally, if not more, fascinating in their own right, and to witness the main character going through it is a story that is not told as often.
Yeah, I think that's also the thing. Like, we're all like the main character in our own stories. What comes along a lot, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's fine. But there used to be the phrase of like standing on the shoulders of giants, and I much prefer the one I heard more recently of standing on the shoulders of the crowd, because it's all the people who've supported you to get to that point. So it's like, this whole project wouldn't happen if it was just one of us working on our own.
Yeah.
It's the thing of everything that we've kind of gone through before, we wouldn't be where we are and who we are without the support of the people around us.
Yeah.
Whether we always get along with them or not, but it's those pushbacks. No, but it's like, you'll have that piece of advice that's like, oh, I would cook it differently or whatever. It's like, no, I want to add this to the recipe. It's like any small thing or big thing, we value those other inputs and those opinions, right? And they're what help us develop our own understanding, but we can't do that on our own, and we've got to have those dialogues there to be able to grow.
Yeah, we need people to call us out on our shit.
Yeah, and just hold us accountable so we will get this done.
Exactly. You will do the deadline. You will do it. Right. How we're going to finish is describe. I think we've both picked 2 words to describe our process or in relation from our discipline to this project. So we'll go to UK then. What 2 spoilers? What 2 words have you chosen that describe your experience with this project from your discipline?
So, because I'm in the very lucky position to have been shown the paintings and been given the book, and I just get to say it, I put intuition and feeling, because I get to infer what message I'm getting from the paintings and what messages I'm getting from the text, and then use that to feel my way through it and like get it out of my mouth. I wish I had better words to describe this feeling, but that's why I wrote feeling,
Well, you talked about it a lot anyway when you said you've already done all of the groundwork of like how to, when you were in like drama school, when you were learning all these things, of like now it is intuitive because you learn from the ground up how to pick apart a story, how to apply the right angle to it, all of that. So it is intuition now because you have your set way of doing it. Do you know what I mean? And like you get something that's got a lot of feeling in it already, and then you have your own feeling that you put into it.
And then I feel along with the characters as the story is being told, and I sort of get to give voice to what they're feeling. Yeah, I think that's why I put feeling down.
I think it's really cool as well because you have that more outside perspective to it as well, because I read the stories and I'm bloody weeping because I'm like, oh, I just wanted to make a painting that had a feeling to it. Harriet writes this beautiful story. I'm like weeping relating to it because I'm thinking about like AI art and all of this stuff and like change, and it's just beautiful and I can't believe it's happened. And she said yes, and then we give it to you, and then your reaction is to like two of these worlds coming together, and then you get to put it forwards and give it a voice. So it's got the visual, it's got the words, and then you give it the voice. So of course it's got this feeling and intuition behind it. It's cool. Harriet, what are your two?
Shape and empathy.
Ooh, she changed.
I like that.
Nice.
So the shape, because it's finding the shape of the story from the shape of the characters and how it all wants to sort of blend together, and you kind of got to just fumble around until it all clicks into place. The empathy bit, because I think I've clearly, hopefully, hit the mark from the comments you two are making with the story, but just approaching things with empathy of going, you know what, everyone's just doing their best and that's fine, and trying to figure it out, but also having the empathy for ourselves of being like, I'm just doing my best and trying to figure it out as well.
Yeah. Zoe, what were your
What were your two words?
Now I'm looking at them, like one of my words is visuals, and I feel that's so obvious, but like genuinely, like I said there at the start, like I get these ideas and I'm a very visual thinker anyway. So trying to get this onto the canvas and be happy with it has been a process of years. Like making art that I'm happy with or whatever, and I only started making an art that I really want to celebrate and love in the last couple of years, and giving myself permission to share it as well. So like making those visuals and actually being happy that no, it's not exactly like I had in my mind, but it's got something else. Like as soon as it's channeled through, it becomes something else, and being happy with that. And then emotion, because I think I am emotional when I paint anyway, and sometimes I wait until I'm angry to paint something. And when you were talking about the frustration part was the last one you painted, which is the creation one. I had just got a massive job rejection for something.
I remember this.
And yeah, because I was at your house, I didn't want to go home. And when I did bring that to the canvas, I didn't film it because I didn't want that outside perspective. And I painted because I didn't know where to start when I didn't have that feeling. But I had all of this like pent up, like, and then like it turns into art. And I often listen to music as well when I paint, and a lot of them had like certain artists that I was listening to, a lot of Paris Paloma, a lot of Keep You Up Well, kind of just angry women basically, but painting with those emotions rather than trying to kind of, that's nice and calm.
Yeah.
And now we're going to paint. I'm like, no, there are no rules. I'm going to bring the emotions to the table, and I'm going to kind of let it guide the brush and let it create something that I wasn't going to create otherwise. So yeah, visuals and emotion together make some painting, and they're my two words. Who knows how long we've been talking for, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And like we were having a mini version of it before, and I was like, camera. But I think it's so nice because you get to truly hear like deeper what people's processes are, and like find out new things. Like there's so much I've learned today from both of your processes that maybe I wouldn't have known otherwise. And like maybe someone will watch and go, oh, that's really cool, or like that's really inspiring, and kind of why I wanted to do it anyway. Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it. I should say at the start, I've written here, subscribe. But it really helps because at the end of the day, we want to get to 1,000, see if we can do that. And onwards from there, and just share it with people who are like-minded, really interested in this kind of stuff, because I want to keep doing. Do you want to keep doing it?
I want to add unlike-minded as well.
Maybe leave a like, or if you're feeling,
definitely leave likes, comments, shares.
Yeah, don't, if you aren't enjoying it, leave me a comment.
It's sharing with everyone.
Yes, with everyone.
They don't want to see it, just share it with them. Okay, you never know, it might surprise you. But yeah, I've had a wonderful time today, and I hope you learned something, or you want to go forth and get your call of action and go and paint something with emotion, or you want to go and give acting and voiceover a go, or you want to get that laptop out and start writing your novel. This is your sign. You need to go and do it. Like, my favourite quote at the moment is, make it now, make it good later. And half of these paintings were, get it slapped on there, get that initial thing done, and then make it good later.
You can edit a bad page, you can't edit a blank page.
Exactly. And
That's my one.
you just gotta, it's gotta eat the frog. You've gotta do that, get it out of the way. Okay, now we're off script. I will begin rambling if I don't wrap up there. So, wishing everyone a magical day, and we'll see you in the next one. Should we give them a little wave? Bye, guys.